Do you believe that every great success story starts with a major failure? In today's video, we will explore the profound insights of Buddhism and how the philosophy of embracing failure can pave the way for achieving greatness. Lesson 1. How to deal with failure as a teacher. In its most basic form, failure is one of the best ways to learn in life. There was always some kind of failure in the middle of every big success story, whether it was in business, art, or personal growth. Buddhism helps us see that failing is not the end, but a part of the process of growing. People learn that failing is not a punishment, but a way to gain knowledge about themselves and the world around them. When we fail, it's normal to feel a lot of different feelings, like sadness, anger, or disappointment. In fact, we might even want to give up. We can see that these times of failing are not meant to hold us back, but to wake us up if we can change our point of view. They are gifts in many ways because they make us think about our decisions, plans, and even our core values. Failure is the best teacher when we use it this way. Think about how the Buddhist idea of non-attachment is a key part of knowing what failure means. Non-attachment doesn't mean not caring about what happens. It means not being tied to a certain result. We cause ourselves pain when we are too attached to the idea of always winning or avoiding failing. However, we can avoid this unnecessary pain if we go through life with an open mind and see both success and loss as normal parts of the process. Failure makes us more humble. When people see how successful other people are, it's easy to feel too good about yourself. We might start to think that we can't lose and that we can't do anything wrong. But loss brings us back to the real world very quickly. It helps us remember that we are only human and can make mistakes. There is always more to learn. Being humble is an important part of any success story. It helps us stay centered, listen to others, and be ready to grow. Don't give up. That's one of the most important things to learn from failing. A lot of people think that one mistake makes them who they are, but that's not true. Looking back at the lives of great people, we can see that they often failed many times before they finally reached their goals. The main difference is that they didn't give up after failing. Instead, they used them as chances to learn how to do things better and get stronger. Failure makes us stronger by making us more resilient. Just like a body gets stronger when it's worked out, our inner strength grows when we face and get through tough times. Every time we fail and learn from it, we get better at dealing with problems in the future. This toughness is what makes success last in the long run. There are people who are more successful than those who never fail. These people have learned how to get back up after failing many times. Failure gives us a chance to connect with other people. We can build stronger ties when we're honest about our problems. People learn from us that it's okay to be weak and that they don't need to be perfect either. In this way, loss builds community and a sense of what it means to be human. It helps us remember that we are all on this trip together and that we will learn and grow as we go. One of the best lessons we can learn in life is from failing. It teaches us to be aware, humble, strong, and kind to ourselves. We become smarter and more successful in the long run as our goals and plans get better. We shouldn't be afraid of failing. Instead, we should see it as an important part of our growth. The teachings of Buddhism tell us that every setback is a chance to learn, grow, and eventually achieve. Lesson 2. How to get stronger when things go wrong. Being resilient isn't something that only a few people naturally have. This is a skill that can be learned by anyone, especially when things are hard. Actually, it's when we fail and have setbacks that we gain the power and courage to keep going. In this way, failing doesn't just test us, it makes us stronger. In its most basic form, resilience is the skill to bounce back from problems. When we fall, it helps us get back up, dust ourselves off, and try again. As for getting stronger through experience, the most important thing that determines how we react to loss is how we think about it. Buddhism, which focuses on being aware and accepting what is, can teach us a lot about how to get stronger when bad things happen. Non-attachment is a central Buddhist teaching that has a direct link to resilience. We often suffer because we get attached to certain results or hopes. We feel disappointed, angry, or defeated when what we had hoped for doesn't happen. Without attachment, on the other hand, we learn to let go of rigid ideals and just go with the flow of life. This doesn't mean we stop trying or care. It just means we know we can't control everything and don't hold on to certain outcomes. We can handle things better when we let go of the need to control them. One important part of resilience is the ability to adapt. Being adaptable lets us change how we do things instead of giving up when things go wrong. We start to look for open windows instead of seeing a closed door as the end. We change the way we think and come up with new ways to deal with problems. Being flexible is one of the best ways to make yourself stronger. Lack of self-compassion can also lead to burnout. We might lose the drive and ability to keep trying if we are too hard on ourselves. Being kind and patient with ourselves, on the other hand, helps us keep our inner resources, which makes it easier to keep going even when things go wrong. Being mindful also helps us deal with loss in a clear way instead of reacting. We can take a step back, look at the situation calmly, and make well-thought-out decisions about what to do next instead of acting on our feelings right away. This kind of thoughtful reaction is important for resilience because it helps us deal with setbacks with a clear head instead of giving up or reacting impulsively. Building resilience through setbacks is about cultivating the right attitude and tools. By practicing non-attachment, self-compassion, adaptability, and mindfulness, we can learn to see failure not as a dead end, but as a chance for growth. Buddhism teaches us that setbacks are a normal part of life's journey, and that resilience is not about avoiding failure, but about learning to rise again and again, each time stronger than before. By doing these things, we build the inner power to not only get through hard times, but also to thrive on them. Lesson 3. Promoting new ideas and finding solutions to problems. We often have to change the way we think after failing. Things that don't go as planned force us to leave our comfort zones and think in new ways. This is where new ideas come from. When people failed at something, they didn't give up and instead looked for new ways to do it. This led to some of the best inventions and discoveries in history. Buddhism tells us to look at life with the mind of a child. Being curious and open to new ideas is what this means. Don't get stuck in fixed ways of thinking. When we fail, we have a chance to practice having this attitude. People who fail can see it as a puzzle that needs to be answered instead of a dead end. Think about how many big steps forward in business, technology, and science were made by making mistakes. For example, penicillin was found by chance. Even when things don't go as planned, it's important to stay open and interested. Mindfulness, or being fully present in each moment, is very important in Buddhism. When we are aware of failure, we stop reacting without thinking and start coming up with new ideas. As we grow, we become more aware of the many options we have, which helps us solve problems better. Lesson 4. Moving away from perfectionism and toward progress. Even though perfection isn't real, a lot of us keep trying to reach it. We think that in order to be successful, we have to be perfect. But this way of thinking is not only impossible, it's also bad for you. It makes us anxious, scared, and afraid of failing so much that we don't try at all sometimes. Buddhism tells us that we shouldn't try to be perfect. We should instead look at growth. In real life, nothing is ever just right. There is always something that can be done better. But when we try to be perfect, we might not notice the little wins and small steps forward we make along the way. Buddhists say that we should let go of the idea of being perfect and instead focus on being here and now and taking part in the growth process. Our attempts to be perfect often lead to failure. When we don't achieve the ideal result we had in mind, we label it a failure. But what if we shifted our focus from perfect results to the progress we are making? Every step forward, even if it's small, is a step in the right direction. When we let go of the need for perfection, we free ourselves from the fear of failing. We understand that it's okay to make mistakes, to stumble, and to fall short of our goals sometimes. These moments don't make us failures. They are simply part of the process. People who follow Buddhism really value the present moment. If we think too much about the end goal